Love to see the energy already. It's great. Got a couple of new faces around here. So, Mike, right?
Yep.
John's brother. Are you just visiting short term, or is this a longer option? Longer possibility. I'm going to put you on the put you on the pressure on right now.
He's slowly going through the process of attending Roman school.
All right.
Well, Mike.
Love it. Glad you're here. Got Inspiro. Great representation. Thank you very much for being here. Love it. So, wins, victories.
I have a gratitude that's off the charts a little bit, but I want to share it.
Okay.
I'm grateful for Disney Plus.
Hey.
Because for once, someone came out with a streaming network that doesn't have a bunch of garbage on it. And we were sitting there as a family last night, my little girl, my wife, and we watched Up, right? That's the one she picked. And she was just giggling her head off. I was like, this is awesome. Disney Plus rules. Grateful for it.
I'll give me this. I can actually have my kids see a TV with a bunch of different options, and I'm like, oh my heavens, what do I do?
Yeah.
So I'm with you on that. That was great. I saw another hand over here.
We're grateful for the book club. We just used the skills taught and never split the difference.
Okay.
And got him a good reduction on the price he's under contract on.
Fantastic.
Wow, good job.
Awesome. That's great. Way to go. You got it?
I'm just grateful for the energy in here this morning.
It's got a lot. I love it. Fantastic.
Every morning.
Appreciate it. It's definitely good. Little low. I have higher expectations for you. It's okay. That's all right. It's okay.
I'm grateful for the John C. Maxwell thing last night.
Yes.
It was amazing. Everybody, there's a lot of representation from our brokerage, and that was 100% word of mouth. And I was actually thinking to myself when it first started, I'm like, man, I got to figure out how come I didn't hear about this except for through George. And it's just because it was all word of mouth, and so great opportunity. I think it all came from George's recommendation, and I walked away with some amazing tidbits that I'm going to change my life and our families.
Been favorite author. My favorite book is at least in the top 3 is the 25 Ways to Win with People. And it's a quick read, but it is fantastic of this how simple he takes life and puts it down into applicable daily principles that you can use, and it's just spot on. So absolutely.
I don't know if you guys are following the massacre in Mexico. That's my family, and I'm just really grateful. I don't know if you guys saw this on the news, but Cody, he's 8 years old, had his face blown off, and he's going home now. They found the last bullet that was lodged in his head. It wasn't first found, but I saw pictures of him. He's 8. You guys know my little 8-year-old, and I'm just so grateful that my kids are healthy, and no 8-year-old should have to get their face blown off by drug cartels. And so I'm just really grateful that I'm able to get through this, even though it doesn't look like I'm getting through this. And I just appreciate all the prayers, and just moving forward. As a real estate agent, they've left Sonora. They've left their home, and they need places to live. So if anybody, and the fact is, to be really open and honest, a couple of those families that have left La Mora are polygamists. And so I'm just looking for places where they can live with 2 families. So if you guys know of any place for rent, they're in Utah now, and they are looking for places to live. Right now, they just kind of landed in people's basements, but with families with 20 kids, you need your own space. And So if anybody knows of any rentals or something that's been on the market for a really long time and the owner would want to lease for a period of time till these families can just gain some stability, because they've had to walk away from everything, like 50 years of, and so not only are they traumatized because their loved ones are dead, but they have nowhere to live and they have to start life over. And I can't even, it's really close to home because they are my family, but at the same time I feel a little more removed because that hasn't happened to me, but just
Sure.
kind of just as agents, just be thinking about where we could house like a lot of people with a lot of kids who are used to being raised on a farm, you know, who just need places to go and just be themselves and be intact with their families. So I'm sorry, I'm just crying through this whole thing.
Well, thanks for sharing that.
I did not expect to like cry on you all this morning.
It's all good. Yeah, it's definitely been an incredible, or tough situation with what's there. And I've been speaking with Lila, Jessica, about it, and so it's tough. It's hard to move on past that.
I know,
Yeah.
so sorry about running on your Disney.
No, it's all good.
You know.
It's okay.
It's all right.
It's all right. It's okay. We're gonna tread through it. And Wayne, did you have something?
One other thing is 41 years ago today I was married.
Nice.
Happy anniversary, Wayne!
Anniversary.
A lot of years and dog years.
Okay. All right. Well, we're going to transition past this, and we're going to move into something that hopefully is going to have you guys open up some little more thinking. And this person is unaware that they're going to actually volunteer, and she's even unaware that I'm even talking about it right now. How about that? So, Ruby, come on up here.
Go up, Ruby.
She's so excited about this.
Yeah.
Come on up here, right here in the middle. All right. Everyone loves Ruby. We love Ruby, right? Okay. Thanks for volunteering, by the way. No, I'm being serious.
What am I volunteering
You were
about?
volunteering.
I wasn't listening.
I know you weren't listening. See,
That's the problem.
that was
That's the
one,
problem.
exactly.
I was comforting.
I wasn't criticizing. Believe it or not, I actually had you volunteering before you walked in here today.
Oh.
So you were okay. So Ruby's going to help me, or actually all of us, talk about something, and we're going to first talk about a story, and I'm going to have Ruby kind of play out what's going to actually happen with the story.
I'm dramatic. Are you sure?
Absolutely.
Is it in
Okay.
British accent, Rob?
You know what? We are not doing accents. There is no accents that are going to be
That's it.
That's for another person. You can have one all I want.
That's
Okay. All right. So I want you to guys pay attention. There's a little bit of story on the background here, and she's the one that is going to have to actually kind of decide what she wants to do. So I want you to visualize in a small Italian village, hundreds of years ago, there was an old businessman who had borrowed a lot of money from a loan shark. Okay? And this loan shark was continuing to make tons of money off of this businessman because he was not able to get it paid off. Well, this loan shark was going to give this businessman an opportunity to wipe the debt clean. However, the loan shark also fancied the businessman's lovely daughter. Okay? So I'm going to let you guys think of actually I'm going to ask you the question here. What is an attractive older man? I've heard, correct me if I'm wrong, but I've heard it, maybe not today, but maybe like 10 years ago, Sean Connery-ish was okay for an older man. I don't know. You can choose your own. George Clooney. Okay, see, I'm thinking older. I'm even thinking older. He's still not. Robert Redford. Really, I've seen some later pictures. Maybe when he was in his fifth. Anyway, all right, Robert Redford.
Rob, are you looking for compliments?
No, I'm not. This is not for me. This is not for me. Now, an uglier man. First person came to my mind is Einstein. You know, like that.
Okay.
Is that fair enough? Maybe
Yeah,
he's still
sure.
Yeah, he was
okay.
a
All right.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get the visual here. So the loan shark was older and not very pleasant looking, so Einsteinish.
Okay.
Okay.
Wow.
Okay.
Einsteinish, right? Not Robert Redford, not Sean Connery.
Okay.
Okay. So the proposal was that this loan shark made a proposal to the father that they'd wipe the debt clean, but the condition was that he'd get the ability to marry the daughter. See where this is going, right? But he was also going to play fair. He's going to give the businessman an opportunity to wipe the debt clean and not have to marry the daughter. Okay? Might be something that's okay, right? So what the suggestion was is they were going to put two pebbles in a bag, and one of them was going to be black, one of them was going to be white, and the daughter would then be able to choose from the bag. She's going to choose the stone. She's going to choose her own fate. If she drew a black pebble, then the debt would be wiped clean, and the loan shark would be able to marry the daughter. If she chose the white pebble, the debt would be wiped clean, and she would not have to marry the loan shark. You with me?
Yep.
Okay? So they're standing in the businessman's little garden. There's a bunch of pebbles all over. Loan shark picks two pebbles up, puts them in the bag. Now, unbeknownst to the businessman, but the daughter happened to notice that the two pebbles that were picked up were both black.
Yeah, smart guy.
He wants.
Let's be
She's an
honest,
attractive
right?
gal,
Yeah, smart
Yeah.
guy.
right? He wants to make sure he's not losing on this, right? So, puts the two pebbles in the bag. Both of them are black. The daughter obviously has three options. She can decide, I'm not picking anything. This is not happening. I'm not going to choose a pebble. It's option one. Option two, she can take both pebbles out of the bag and expose the loan shark for the fraud that he is, that he's trying to cheat the process, right? Now the business owner knows that he's trying to cheat.
I would do that. Just kidding.
Okay, well, you're going to get the opportunity to decide. Or option three, she knows that her dad has got to get this debt paid off. She chooses one of the pebbles and decides to just throw in the towel, marry the guy, marry Einstein, and move on her way. So my question to you, Ruby, is those three options. What would you do?
Well, if I take out all the pebbles and expose them, they might kill my dad, or they might, whatever.
Or they may just say, okay, we'll do it fair now, and we'll put one of
That's
each
what I
in,
would do.
and you'd have to start all over again.
That's what I would do.
Okay?
I would do, because immediately, either with this option, at least then you change your chances to 50-50, I would say.
Okay?
So I would first take out the pebbles and expose them.
Okay?
That's my first choice.
Is this your final answer?
Yes. I thought there's more to it, but yes.
Okay. I'm just asking.
Yeah.
It's okay.
I would do that.
All right. So she'd take the two pebbles out and expose, knowing that they're going to basically replace one, and you have to do this all over again, and now you got a 50-50 chance versus 100% going down the road, right? Okay? I want some other ideas.
I have an idea. Can
All
I
right.
go with option?
I know one of those three options.
Dang it! All right, well then I'm gonna pass.
Okay? Now, if anyone knows, so this, I don't want.
So I don't know it, but this is what I would do personally. I would pick three. Option
three,
So
okay.
that my dad gets his debt paid off.
Okay?
I marry this Einstein dude for a
Okay.
short period of time.
Because he's not going to be around much
then
longer.
we get a divorce,
Okay?
or we wait for him to obviously
Peel
move
off
on
and
from
move on.
life, right? And then so it's kill two birds with one stone, right?
All right.
You get the debt paid off, and then you
Okay?
get rid of the dude somehow.
Okay?
And you inherit all of his wealth because you're his wife, just make sure. it's
Boom!
green.
3 birds with one stone.
Okay, all right, so we're adding some other things here. All right, fair enough.
I want to hear what Marita had to say.
Rita, I heard something about Italy.
It said 300 or however many few hundred years
Divorce
ago,
wasn't an option
You
like
didn't get a divorce.
in Italy?
So he's got to go away somehow.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Okay, any other thoughts?
I would kill him.
Any other thoughts?
Bury him.
to agree with his comment.
Okay?
If you're okay with that. And the reason why is because that'd be the same thing as, but I do agree with Ruby though.
Okay?
The reason why is it'll be like if somebody were to get married to somebody just because they are pregnant, for example. You are marrying that person just because you guys are having a baby.
Of the incidents.
Not because you guys love each other, or
Sure.
etc. Same thing here. You know, to marry somebody because of money or debt, I just don't agree with that.
Well, we're helping the father. Let's think
Right,
deeper,
okay,
right?
okay.
We're helping
Hold on a second, hold on a second.
Who gave us
We're not,
life, right?
we're not trying to solve
It's not a
life.
money thing.
We are not trying to
It's
solve, hold
helping
on,
someone who has
wait.
raised us.
We're not trying to solve life's problems right here. All we're trying to do is keep this simple. Those are three options. We're trying to, the whole purpose, we're going to explain the purpose of this in a second. Focus on the three issues, the three items.
Okay, I decided I would not go with. I would walk away. I wouldn't.
Okay,
sleep
so
with
you do
any of the
option one.
pebbles and help my dad pay off the debt.
Okay, so there's another option that's there.
I'm
Okay.
newer.
All right, now I want you to think about this. So, the answer that this daughter chose, she goes in, takes one of the pebbles out, has one of the pebbles, and immediately as she takes it out, she drops the pebble. She says to the man, "Clumsy me. It gets blended in with all the other pebbles. I'm not sure which one I was, but let's just check what was left in the bag."
Ooh,
And because whatever was left in the bag, obviously I chose the other option.
that is good.
Ooh.
So she knew that both of them were black. She drops the pebble, gets blended in with all the other rocks. Clearly, the loan shark did not want to expose himself for what he was doing, so he had to accept that he knew there was black that was still in there. He had to accept that what would have been taken was the white one.
Woman.
Smart. That's awesome.
That's smart.
Good job, smart one. You got there. You cleared your father and you didn't have to marry one.
Wow.
Thank you for participating. All right, appreciate it. The moral of the story is, oftentimes we may need to think outside the box.
I like that.
Many times, how many times when we might be in a listing presentation, we're trying to handle an objection where we think that these are the only options that we have when we are trying to just, help our clients receive the best possible situation, or we're trying to, we feel like we have to answer the right question, so we think that these are the only 2 or 3 options that we have, and we automatically shut down the walls to think of other possibilities. The whole purpose of this is, by thinking outside the box, sometimes and I'd say more often than not, we probably have more options than we think, even though we have guidelines. I'm not throwing out there, if you noticed our analogy, it was not creating a whole new set of rules. I'm not saying that, hey, whatever, this is stuff that you'll lose your license if you go create a scenario over that avenue. We stayed within the rules. The 3 things that were there. She doesn't have to choose any of the rocks, any of the pebbles. She could take both of them, or she could take one. She took one. Now, by following that guideline, she was able to do something a little bit different. She was able to still completely find the outcome that was perfect for her and her father in that scenario by tweaking a couple little things.
So take that extra minute.
To think about what are possible outcomes. If you think outside the box, you are going to find options that you had no clue that even existed. Be prepared to be able to do that. Be thinking of suggestions or options. Obviously, your preparation that you're going to have is going to lead up to that ability to find other solutions. Many times we may not be able to think ourselves, hey, what should I do? And that's why we have in the morning what's going on here. You're having opportunities to think or hear what other people are saying to help broaden your own understanding, your own thought process. That's what's so amazing about it. You might be that person that is helping somebody else, or you might be the person that's receiving the help. But by thinking outside the box, it has the ability to change your entire outcome. It has the ability, in this example, change your entire life. So I throw that back to you guys. Be prepared to think outside the box. Okay? Any thoughts? Comments?
It's interesting that you say that, Rob, because one of the things that really stuck out to me last night when we were listening to John Maxwell is he says true leaders think what other people think.
Yeah.
And, you know, I think it's just interesting to hear somebody who has studied leadership his whole entire life, right, to basically say, be different, and to make sure you're doing those things and challenge yourself to do those things, and make sure you're around people that are challenging you to do that. And so, I think it's great.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Anything else?
Well, you know, Rob, when you're talking to an individual who's trying to sell their property, by asking the question, you know, if you could keep it and rent it, would you? Is thinking outside the box. And most of the time they're not going to keep it. Most people don't want to be a landlord, but it takes away the commission breath and shows you're there to help. That is thinking outside the box.
Well,
instead
I
of
mean,
changing.
when you're going down that avenue, what you're trying to do is, when we have obstacles and we haven't done our job putting our clients through those situations, they're going to look for excuses and reasons why you're not doing what you're doing. But when we go through all of the possible scenarios and ask the questions, hey, do you want to rent this property? They may say, yeah, first. Okay, great. Let's talk about what that might look like. And now you've walked them through the process, and they realize, no, that is not what I want to do. Okay, should we take that off the table? Yes, great. So now if you are having a problem, the home's not selling, they're blaming you for doing this other stuff, hey, remember, we can still go back and look at the possibility of renting. Is that what you want to do again? Remember, these are the things that you thought about that would be very difficult for you to be a landlord. Are you interested in that? You know what, we're not. Okay, thanks for bringing me back to where I am. So a lot of everything that we're going through is based on the questions that we ask and walk our clients through the process. But just when, by us being prepared to be able to say, hey, look, I may take this approach the majority of the time, but sometimes we got to take a detour. We have to get back on the road that we need to, but many times we may need to take a detour and then get our clients back online where they're trying to go.
I love this whole scenario just because when you're on the spot, you actually don't think as much as you can when you have that extra minute. So when we're pre-qualifying and we're asking questions over the phone before we go out there, you can kind of create that scenario in your mind that what if, and then know how to answer that so you're not on the spot. Asking those questions allow you to think outside the box when you're in front of them a little bit.
And how important is it only helps you if you ask the questions to truly understand what their situation is. Because you're right. If they do give an answer that, oh, I may not have the answer for you right now, I could be thinking about what the problem will be when we actually have our appointment and provide a better answer then.
Especially if they say, I don't think we can afford it, or I don't think I can do this. So then you kind of know that which direction they might go into, that they want to, but they don't think they can.
Good.
And for me, I notice when I'm thinking of just the problem, that's when I'm not creative at all. I can't think of the answers. I'm just focused on things that I think I can't control it, it's not my fault, things like that. When I focus on the solution and the outcome, and the cool thing is if we can find out the outcome that's in the best interest of the person we're helping or serving, that's when we become creative. That's when things come to mind that we never would have thought of in the past.
Wait.
I think that's the value of the role playing in the morning is because those answers have already come up. We've already thought about that. We've already gone down that road. And we can have a clear set of answers that are already there in your brain. You don't have to create new ones.
Love that.
Yeah, I was thinking about this. Some of my biggest life successes I can attribute to just thinking outside the box, thinking from a different angle. And probably one of my biggest paydays this year came from for sale by owner who had their home listed, and they had they're having 3 or 4 other agents they're interviewing, and I just happened to ask a lot of questions about where they were moving to. Instead of focusing on what we're going to do to sell your home and all this stuff and compete there, I got all this information about the home they want to buy. They want to buy this new construction home, and they had the exact one picked out. And so I reach out to that agent, that's the builder's agent, and got all these details, exactly what they're looking for in an offer, and had all this stuff dissected. So that's exactly what we talked about the whole time, not competing for the business. This is what we got to do to get you that next home, and that's what you care about. And we got the business because of that. Yeah.
This brings up I'll often say this, and some of you may have heard it, is our job as agents, we are supposed to be firefighters, not fire starters. It is amazing how many people come to me and they're more upset about the scenario, and maybe another agent is doing something that they shouldn't be doing, and it's more they're upset with the other agent. And then we have to sit back and say, well, time out. I understand whatever the agent is doing is upsetting you, pissing you off, whatever, and quite frankly, what they're doing is wrong. But does that solve the problem? Are you just adding fuel to the fire, or are you actually solving the problem? We're supposed to be putting the fires out and moving forward. This is a great solution for it, because in this example, they were excited about buying the home. Selling the home was one of the headaches they had to deal with in order to get this home that was there. And you're providing that the idea, hey, what that's going to look like. Hey, you're right here, you're kind of grumpy, you're having to deal with all this other stuff. But once you get what you're looking for, how exciting is that going to be? You're painting the picture for what life will be versus the way it is. And that's what you're supposed to be doing, solving problems. So one more hand back here, John.
Sometimes it's really uncomfortable to do something outside the box. And the reason why I state that is my brother, he just went on the contract on a home. It is still a seller's market. He's all, yeah, let's offer 10,000 less. I'm all, it's a seller's market. He's all, yeah, this one's been sitting on the market, it's not going anywhere. Plus, you had me read, never split the difference. Let's start low. So we did, and they countered back, and when they countered back, they said, we sent you a very reasonable counter. But I knew my brother wasn't going to be happy, because we just started the negotiation. So he said, yeah, let's only come up $2,000, make it odd instead of a round number. So it is $2,327 we came up. The toilet in the master bedroom was leaking when we flushed it. He's all, let's throw some items on there too that they can kick off. And I'm all, okay, so we sent it back over. I said, yes, your counter was very reasonable and generous. Unfortunately, the numbers didn't quite work for us. Here's our counter. They kicked off 2 items and accepted the new price. And oh my goodness. This is a
Your brother's teaching you something, huh?
This is a seller's market. What are we doing? But sometimes it's uncomfortable, but even if it is, it can produce really good things.
Absolutely. It's great. Okay.
Well, I think like in the story that you shared, that one of the things is we can't get overwhelmed by what the options are, right? And I'm thinking about a client I had this summer where we got back like a laundry list of like we want these things repaired, and immediately my client was like, nope, I'm not doing it, screw them, they can take it or leave it, I'm sick of this. And I was like, okay, let's just break it down item by item. And it was a lot of like, oh, we can do this for $12. We can,
right.
Even there were a couple of broken windows, but they had aluminum framing, and her handyman was like, oh, you just pop these out, you take them down to Central Glass, they put them in for $100. So we were like, oh, so we're not putting in $800 windows, It was really simple stuff, and I think sometimes we get overwhelmed, like there are a lot of things here, and we just have to kind of slow down for a minute, look through and obviously think outside the box, but like look at how you
It
can
goes
deal
back to with what
these
Chris is saying. Focus
small
on
items.
the solution, not the problem,
Yeah.
and what's there. So,
Rob, it was fascinating what you did with Ruby, and I've heard this story before, and it was interesting. My blind spot was I was so worried about Ruby making a choice, I was freaking out for her and forgot the fact of how the story unwound. So it was a blind spot for me to understand myself that when we're not prepared, we forget really important items in
when
the
we're
process.
not prepared, stressed,
Yes.
we're on the spot. And that's where a lot of the preparation comes from, is because when you are on the spot, the more prepared you are, your natural reactions will take over versus the pressure on stuff that's
Yeah.
there. So,
Crazy.
awesome. Okay.
Rob, before you end real quick, for those of you who are interested in Tony Robbins' San Jose, it is, you guys, probably his cheapest event that you can get to. It is March 12th through the 15th of next year. Tickets are going on sale already. We have group pricing, but we will only have the group pricing that we do until Thanksgiving. So that on Thanksgiving, it'll go at a much higher price. And Debbie, our rep, has made me aware that they are getting very strict with integrity on pricing. And so if you want the pricing, we are trying to get a group together. If we can get a group of 40 to go to the event, we can get our VIP seating for general admission pricing. You guys, I don't know if any of you have looked at it, his prices are going up. He's obviously only getting more popular by demand. And so I would highly recommend that if you haven't gone, this is the one to go to. It's your cheapest one to get to. Gosh, these are, it's in California. That one you can get to easy, sharing a room, flight and all that kind of stuff. But come talk to me if you're interested and if you want to get going to it. So
Okay. Thank you.
right now it's $695 for VIP seating, and that's
$695 for VIP total, or in addition
per
to?
ticket.
Oh.
So